Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I am your host Nick Smith, and as you all know, I'm a comic book nerd. I have a Deadpool beanie. I have a lot of comic book movies. As you all know, ever since the movie The Avengers, Marvel has been a bit ahead of DC when it comes to films with the big screen. The only top contender, I think, is the Nolan trilogy and Man of Steel. But now, when it comes to animated films, DC kicks Marvel in the gonads when it comes to animated films. They have so many good ideas and so many animated films. I've only known a couple of Marvel, and I think it's both the Avengers and that's it. DC is kicking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.'s butt with Arrow, with Gotham, with The Flash. But now when it comes, like I said, with their animated films, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite animated films from DC, Batman Under the Red Hood. Now, one of the best things about this film is the voice actors, and with Jensen Ackles as the Red Hood. Oh my gosh, he is this character. I mean, he taught, not just the fact that he has the voice for the Red Hood, but it's like when, I know a lot of you are probably going to disagree, but when it comes to the Spider-Man movies and when it comes to the two Spider-Man films, when I look at Andrew Garfield, I see Spider-Man, but I don't see the Spider-Man I originally grew up with. When I see Tobey Maguire, as soon as I started watching the movie again, it did not take me long to say, oh my gosh, that's Spider-Man. And Jensen Ackles is great for being Dean Winchester, for being in all the other things he has been. Also, if you all remember, he was a guest on my show one time. He provided his voice for a lot of people's favorite show. And what is that, Jensen Ackles? What show were you on?
What's in the box?
Yes, I have had Jensen Ackles' voice on What's in the Box, and even though he's never really been on my show, of course, well, that would be a dream. He does such a good voice. He does such a good job with playing the Red Hood. All of the voice actors do a phenomenal job. Another famous actor is Neil Patrick freaking Harris as Nightwing. Let's just do a count of Neil Patrick Harris on heroes. Spider-Man, 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 and Nightwing. Neil Patrick Harris has been Spider-Man at least 3 to 4 times. And he's great as Spider-Man. He is great as Nightwing. And the chemistry that they have with him and Bruce is good. Now, one downfall about this is the guy who does the voice for Batman. And it's not that he does a horrible job, no. But the fact of the matter is that everyone in this film, in this animated film, they put their own spin on the character. Like the Joker, for example. The guy who does his voice, he is this Joker, but it's like on how when you're an actor, you put your own spin on the character, how you would portray it. And his voice, it sounds like he's either trying to do his regular voice or copying Kevin Conroy. And he does a phenomenal job. Everyone in this film gives a good performance, and I strongly recommend you pick this up. But we've already got Kevin Conroy. So, in all that saying, this is the film that takes place after they made the comic around A Death in the Family. Now, watching some of the specials on the internet, because I do not have the Blu-ray, which, by the way, if you get the Blu-ray, you will get these specials. They talk about how when they first introduced Jason into the comics, and not a lot of people liked Jason. There were some people who did, some people who didn't. So they decided to make this competition. We're going to have this little competition. Call this number if you want Jason to die. Call this number if you want Jason to live. They killed Jason off. And there's 2 ways that goes for those who have read the comics. In the Frank Miller version, after Jason's death, Bruce stops being Batman. He blames himself for Jason's death. He stops being Batman, and thus that's how we get Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. And in this, he is still Batman, but he blames himself for the loss of Jason. So we come to realize that Jason is getting beaten by the Joker. And the difference between Jason and Dick is Jason was a kid on the streets, and he had anger issues, I think, but he was just, when Bruce found him, he's like, he was uncontrollable. He was basically hard to control. And like there was, for instance, when he got older, they needed someone for information. Jason put the guy in shock. And Jason says, and I quote, "He got what he deserved." And this is the difference between the Red Hood and Batman. Bruce is still trying to live by his code. But the Red Hood is like, you can't stop crime. I'm controlling it. And he actually does a good job at it. Like in the beginning of the film, he's like, all right, you are going to work for me. I'm going to give you more money, but you do not sell drugs to kids. He's basically wanting to be better than Batman. And he thinks he's better than Batman because he's doing what Bruce will not do, and that is killing the criminals. He's like, look, you try to beat them with intimidation and fear, but what do you do about the ones who aren't scared? I'm doing what you can't. I'm taking them out. And he thinks that this is what the city needs, and this is one of the many things about the difference between Batman and the Red Hood. And during the climax, he asks Batman, why will you not kill the Joker? Why will you not kill him? I'm not talking about Dent or Penguin or the Riddler, just him. Just him. Red Hood just wants the Joker dead. But we find out they actually give a good explanation on why Batman won't kill him. It's not that he doesn't want to, because he does. But he says, all I've wanted to do is kill him. But I cannot think of a death worthy enough to kill him. Because he says, I've wanted to subject him to every single torture and every single thing he has done to innocent people. I want to kill him, but also he says, once I cross that line, there's no going back. And that's the thing. It's kind of like with Selina Kyle and with Batman in The Dark Knight Returns. Selina Kyle lost her humanity. And when Bruce offers her a chance at getting her humanity back, she's too far gone. She can never come back. And that's the thing. Jason does not want to come back. I guess you could say he's stubborn, but with this, he believes the only way to do good in the city of Gotham is to control crime with death and fear. Oh, and he does. At the beginning of the film, he's like, yeah, try threatening a guy with an AK-47. There's the heads of all your clients. I did that in 2 hours. Want to know what a whole entire afternoon can get done with? Yeah. The Red Hood is a scary person. The Red Hood is not someone you mess with. But also, we find out that the plan of the Red Hood is just to get Black Mask, which, yes, Black Mask is in this movie. He's taking a lot of Black Mask's employers and he's making them come work for him, and he's costing Black Mask a lot of money. Like in the beginning of the film, Black Mask has this Amazo thing that Batman and Nightwing eventually end up stopping, and it costs him a lot of money. He was wanting to get Red Hood so desperate that he would get the Joker out so he could have his one-on-one confrontation with him. And here's one thing. You cannot control the Joker. When Batman goes to Ra's al Ghul's house, he's like, he was robbing banks and he was destroying them, but I don't actually understand what it was, but in order to get Batman off his tail, he hired the Joker. Jason went after the Joker on his own, and that is how Jason ended up in the situation that he did, getting beaten with the crowbar and killed by a bomb. And this movie has my favorite joke from the Joker. When the Black Mask is talking to him, he's like, I'm gonna need some water. Or no, he asks him for a drink of water because he's eating chips. Then he takes the glass, breaks it, and cuts the guy's neck. And he says, and I quote, I'm gonna need some guys. Not these guys, because, they're kind of dead. That is my favorite joke from the Joker. They do something like this in The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. when the Joker is on a talk show, he asks the talk show host if he can keep the coffee mug. He's like, we get to keep these, right? Sure, go ahead and keep it. He takes the coffee cup and he kills the doctor, and he's like, as long as you won't miss it. That's the one thing, is a lot of people think if they're going to hire the Joker, they can control him, and they're wrong. You cannot control the Joker. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Red Hood does a huge job at dragging Bruce around. Basically making him do whatever it is he's wanting Bruce to do to figure out what's going to happen. He knows how Bruce is. He knows what Bruce is going to do. Heck, when Black Mask sends assassins, the Red Hood doesn't fight back much. He's like, oh no, I'm just stalling. Batman comes in, and we do get some chemistry with Bruce and Jason. Jason's like, man, I hate to say this, but I missed watching you work. And the thing with Dick, otherwise known as Nightwing, you know what I missed about running with you? The toys. Oh my gosh, Neil Patrick Harris does such a good job. These actors do such a good job of working off each other, and it's just great. It's just phenomenal. And we get a fight with Batman and Jason. Jason almost gets killed. But Jason has this taser bomb, and he sticks it in the mask of this one that can shoot lasers out of its mask, and he blows the dude's head up. And Jason looks at Batman and says, be lucky that I only killed one of them. And, like, there's some great chases, there's some great fights. The animation is wonderful, except when it comes to the vehicles. The vehicles do look like CG, but everything else is awesome. Guys, I strongly recommend you pick this up, not just because it's a good story, but because of the voice acting, and get it on Blu-ray. I, unfortunately, did not get it on Blu-ray. One other thing. In Batman Arkham Knight, it looks like we might have a confrontation with the Red Hood, but what sucks is Jensen Ackles is not the voice of the Red Hood, as far as I know, but he is the voice for the Arkham Knight, and I just gotta give Jensen Ackles applause, because he's Dean Winchester, he's the Red Hood, and now he's freaking Arkham Knight. And I cannot wait to see what he's going to do with that character. That's one of the things that makes Jensen Ackles such a good character. If it's an old rehashed character, he will find a way to make his own spin off of it. He will play it in his way, the way how he would have done it, and he pulls out a phenomenal job in everything he's in, along with Neil Patrick Harris and the other voice actors in this. Guys, once again, I give this movie an A. I give this movie an A, not an A+, because of those two things. The CG with the vehicles is not that good, and the fact that the guy kind of sounded like Kevin Conroy as Batman. But he does a great job. Guys, it's not on Netflix, but you can go to FYE, or maybe you find it you can find it online. Please watch this movie. It is worth the watch. It is only 75 minutes, an hour and 15. Go watch it. Go watch this movie. Have a good day, guys.